Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, and Pace Farm Eggs.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Classic Restos. But before I go any further, here is some special stuff from the people that help bring us Classic Restos each and every week.
It's thanks to Shannons. Ask about multi-policy discounts and sign up for the Shannons Club. Call 134646 for a quote and see more at shannons.com.au. For oils, coolants, additives and technical assistance, Oil Right, use Penrite. And Hare and Forbes has the range. Buy online at machineryhouse.com.au.
Okay, if you're a Ford fan, don't go anywhere. This is it. Here in Australia, the Big Daddy, the grand final of events. Welcome to the 2016 Geelong All Ford Day. The Kiwanis All Ford Day Geelong, in my opinion, is truly a worldly event. The range of vehicles here made by Ford will be the best you will see not only in Australia but internationally as well. The quality of restorations are world class, and there is always a big emphasis on Aussie built Fords that were made right here in Geelong, representing an era that will never be repeated. The Kiwanis All Ford Day happens here at Deakin University. The day includes over 1,200 Ford vehicles on display. There are 34 different car clubs represented, and if you like a prize, there are 48 different trophies to be won. I guess you could say that this event needs no introduction, but it's time now to go and speak to some entrants to see what keeps them returning year after year. I thought there's no better way than to start today's episode than with a Model T Ford. Now we have Ken. How are you, Ken?
Pretty good, thanks, Fletch.
That's the way, mate. Now, Model T Ford, how old is this one?
This one's just on its 100th year now.
How amazing is that?
Yeah, it's very good, and drove here today very well, so...
The history of Ford, obviously starting in the United States, in Detroit, and here, Australian manufacturer. I mean, what a history. And to see a vehicle now 100 years old and still running, where does it go back with you, Ken?
It goes back about 18 years. We bought it as a promotional vehicle for our ice company, and we've used it that ever since.
How long have you had your ice company for?
Since 1958.
So when you have a stressful day, you can go and chill, right?
On a hot day, yes. Yep.
Okay, now what can you tell us about this old girl? Has it always been a Geelong truck?
Yes, it's always been in Geelong, but it's been a bread truck originally.
Wow.
And we got it and changed it over and converted it across.
You know, this is what we stepped up from the horse, didn't we?
That's right, yes. It was really something from them days to move to this, and now it's very hard to find somebody who can drive it.
Yeah, what is it like to drive?
It's interesting. Especially getting in the queue coming in today, sitting behind another car, you're frightened of running, pushing the clutch and running into the back of him sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, some people might say the brakes weren't real good, but then again, you didn't go real quick either though, did you?
No, it's just a matter of stopping down the hills.
Yeah. The wooden spokes, I mean, just so traditional to a lost era, a period that just so long ago, exposed headlights, and I mean, wow, I mean, this really depicts where it all began.
It does, yep. Well, the wheels today, had to buy a tyre last week, and when I asked for a 30-inch by 3.5-inch tube, it was a bit of an interesting place at the tyre company.
Oh, you had to buy a tyre. The damn thing's continually costing him money.
Yeah, just as we blew it up to bring it out of the shed, it banged.
Now, Ken, a crank start, how do you go with that?
Oh, pretty good. It's that starts reasonably easy.
Are you going to show us?
Yep, we can kick it over and see. Right. Let's hope it'll start for you when you're ready.
Fingers crossed. Have a look at this. Ken, it's a huge day here, over 1,000 cars at Geelong today. Thanks for your time. You're the first interview on Classic Restos today. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah? Has that made your day?
It has.
Yeah.
It has made me glad to see. I've watched your show a lot and really like it.
That'll melt a bit of ice, won't it, mate?
Yeah, looking for a tour one day.
A Fletch tour?
Yeah, I'm looking.
Talking of which, if you want to see history on Ford, the Detroit tour, it's just mind-blowing. So hope to see you come along one day.
Okay, thanks Fletch, thanks for that. Okay.
Thanks, Ken.
Thanks.
From a Model T through to the early production Falcon, the legendary XK, we have Jason. How are you, Jason?
Mate, I'm great. Great to be here from Adelaide over at this huge event. I haven't even seen it all yet, but it's the first time I've actually been to the All Ford Day here in Victoria. Been threatening to come for years, but I've finally got it together and here I am.
Good on you, Jason. As I alluded to just a moment ago, this is where it began in Australia, the first shape Falcon. We have an XK Falcon, white four-door, and this is basically the car I had in mind for the interview, and lo and behold, here's one. What can you tell us about it?
Well, I've had the car since 1999. It's quite interesting because I purchased it hours before the very first Clipsal 500 and actually got out to go on the track thanks to the Ford Motor Company, who wanted a mobile display of cars. And at the time, our club didn't have any other members in the club who had a standard XK Falcon. But I did, thank goodness, and got to do laps on the day, and it was just amazing. But thanks to a few friends who helped me tune and polish the car in the car park before we went out on the track. But yeah, no, great car.
Interesting too, the history too from the United States of America. The first Falcon being a little flimsy. I mean, the American roads were just so smooth compared to our conditions over here. I mean, our regional roads back in those days were absolutely awful, dirt, corrugated roads. The poor little Falcon really suffered, but as the years evolved, they did improvements, and by the time 1965 came around with the XP, the last of the original shape, was quite a good car.
Yeah, they had all the problems solved because the engineers at Broadmeadows and also the contractors at AMI came up with a few solutions on the fly. The car itself was actually thought of by Ford as the new generation of Model T because of the revolutionary box chassis, which had never been mass produced by a car company like Ford before. There were other things. The size of the car was quite revolutionary. It wasn't a small car like the English preferred. It wasn't a big car like the Americans always loved, and we do too. But it was right in the middle.
I mean, I just think having the car, Jason, and knowing that this is the first shape here on the Australian market, the American market for the Falcon as well, hosting the 144 cubic inch engine up front, 3-speed on the tree, radio delete on the dash. Wow! When you look inside, she's a plain Jane. It's almost a taxi pack, but this is how they were.
That's right, because it was quite expensive in the day because this vehicle here was about £909. Now, for your average worker back in the day, that was white collar pay packets, and that was a full 12 months at least. And it was a hard thing to save for in those days because, like today, everything costs money. Yeah.
It was back in the days when people used to save up for a brand new car too.
Yes, it was definitely something that was on the top of people's to-do list, and this is the way to go. It's a beautiful car.
Good on you, Jason. Thank you for being on today's show. As I said, this is a good way to start the Kiwanis Geelong All Ford Day TV episode. We had a Model T earlier, but it's back to this Australian market back in 1960, and this is the way it was. Thank you very much, Jason.
Thank you, Fletch, for your time, and I just want to say to you, I love your show, and my heart goes out to all the people at the Ford Motor Company that sadly will be no more after October this year.
Well, we're keeping the dream alive the best way we can. Good on you, buddy.
Thanks, mate. Keep up the good work.
I have to say I have a lot of time for the early Falcon. Here in Australia in 1960, this is the first original shape deriving from the United States of America. It's also the longest production model ever made in automotive history here in Australia. The Falcon has a strong legacy and will remain in the hearts of many tens of thousands of Australians for a long time to come. You are watching the 2016 Kiwanis All Ford Day here in Geelong, and you're seeing it first on Classic Restos. Back with more right after this.
Every weekend around Australia, motoring enthusiasts get together to share their passion for cars and bikes. It's a passion that brings us together. All sorts of people, all sorts of cars and bikes. From the classics of today to the classics of tomorrow. At Shannons, we understand enthusiasts. So when it comes to insurance, it's got to be Shannons. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
Penrite, Australian-made, family-owned and operated. make premium quality engine and racing oils, warranty approved coolants, automatic transmission and manual gear oils, a complete range of engine and fuel additives, heavy duty and industrial products for every application. Visit penriteoil.com for more information. Penrite, Australian made for Australian conditions since 1926.
If you need a new piece of equipment for your workshop, you need Hare and Forbes Machinery House. From a garage jack through to a lathe, Hare and Forbes has the range. And Hare and Forbes Machinery House are Australian owned, established since 1930. You will be greeted by friendly, helpful staff, and you can buy from anywhere online at machineryhouse.com.au. Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Find your closest store at machineryhouse.com.au. Time for Colin now. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks, Fletch.
That's the way. The episode today here, the Kiwanis Geelong All Ford Day for 2016, we are evolving through the models here. Starting with a Model T Ford, then a 1960 XK Falcon, and now a 67 XR. This is the Mustang-bred Falcon, the start of a new shape again. Mate, what a car.
Yeah, it certainly is, Fletch. These cars had a lot of the Mustang gear in them, and yeah, I'm a proud owner. Yeah.
Look, it's beautifully restored. You got the wonderful 289 up front. What a great little revving engine they were. And it had its own accolades at Bathurst and many racetracks as well. The actual car, the interior, there's something about the XR, XT interiors, the dashboard. It just takes us way back, doesn't it?
It certainly does, yeah. Now, this particular car, it's got the original interior and never been touched. So, you know, to have one in that good a neck, it's incredible. It's
almost like a bit of a history lesson on today's show, just to look at the cars, the way they were and how the Fords evolved through time. That's one thing about the GTs with their Fairmont-like interiors. They were always dressed really well, weren't they?
They were, yeah. In actual fact, my first car was a XR Fairmont V8, and yeah, I always wanted a GT, now I got one.
How does it drive as a car, Colin?
Really well, yeah, really well.
Also, too, the chrome steely wheels too. What I love about this car, it's been left alone.
Yeah. Nice caps, stainless steel caps. Yeah, good, really good.
Good on you, Colin. Well, look, thank you for sharing this car with us. It's a great example of an XR. The paddock, look, the quality of Fords here today really is amazing, and it's hats off to so many hundreds of people that have brought their cars along. We can't have everybody on the TV show, obviously, but you're doing the breed proud today, Colin.
Yeah, thanks, Fletch. And maybe one day we might go on one of those tours of yours in the States, you know. I've often thought of that.
Yeah, check it out, fletchtours.com. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
Okay, good on you, Fletch.
All right, mate. Bye. Making my way through the interviews here at the 2016 Kiwanis All Ford Day in Geelong. Look who's behind me. Shannons Insurance and Penrite Oil. Need I say more? Do these companies support us enthusiasts or what? Moving through the luxury car class now, we have something magnificent, a 1971 Ford LTD. To tell us more, here's Stephen. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, Fletch. How are you?
Good, mate. What can you tell us about this incredible car?
Okay, so yeah, 71 Galaxy, imported into Australia in 1972 to a gold mining company in Sydney, and my grandfather was a third owner in about 75, 76.
Wow. So to have your grandfather's car, I mean, how special is that?
Yeah, very special. Just to keep it in the family so we can all enjoy it.
Yeah. So the time you've had it, Steve, what have you done to it?
Okay, so in the last 18 months we've had it fully restored, paint panel, a little bit to the interior, and engine bay.
I love the interior. The high back buckets, personal, individualised captain's armchair rests there as well. I mean, wow. I mean, the sweeping dashboard. I mean, these were amazing cars, weren't they?
They are. They're a big car, and you fold those armrests up for a six-seater.
Yeah. Steve, the 400 up front does a good job?
It does, yeah. Well, it's a big car, so it needs every bit of it.
It's lazy power.
It does, yeah. Good cruiser, yeah.
I guess, too, as well, transmission, what is it running? Is it FMX, C6?
C6, yeah, C6 in it, yep. All original, untouched. Even the engine's untouched. Yep. Beautiful.
Isn't that good? I mean, something that's a hamburger with a lot, and not so much the last of the run being a 71. They made them for many years after that. This is certainly a good score. I mean, to think these were the cars back in the time that used to go to the crusher every day of the week. Back in a time where their trade-in values weren't worth as much as scrap value. I mean, it's hard to comprehend now, isn't it?
It is, yes, it certainly is. We were lucky it was a straight car that you couldn't do that to it, so it was hung on to.
I know, I just cringe to think to the thousands it did happen to. Mate, just on that, what's your thoughts on the All Ford Day here for 2016?
More than I expected. It's a big day, huge day. We'll be back for sure.
That's good, mate. With this car?
Definitely. Yep.
You're gonna keep it in your family for the rest of your time, I would imagine?
Definitely will, and I'm not allowed to do another one, so this will be it.
Well, there you go. When you're not allowed another one, you got to make the most of the one you got. Good on you, Steve.
Thank you. Thanks, Fletch.
If you love your classic Americana, well then you'll adore a Fletch Tour. Have a look at this.
There is nothing quite like a Fletch Tour. Carlisle All Ford Nationals, GM Nationals and Chrysler Nationals await you.
On a Fletch Tour, you don't have to worry about a thing.
I can't believe how good it's been.
Experience Route 66
We're definitely coming back to do Route 66.
or choose the Detroit Tour, attending the Woodward Dream Cruise.
On a Fletch Tour, every day just gets better and better. You've got to do something in your life, you've got to do a Fletch Tour.
There are 5 Fletch Tours. See fletchtours.com or contact All Things Travel, Lara.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons,
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannon's.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
In 1926, Australia's Penrite Oil Company was established. Almost 90 years of research, development and refining under the harsh Australian conditions has made Penrite Oil what it is today. Precision, performance, reliability and protection. Championship winning products. Trust Penrite.
If you need a new piece of equipment for your workshop, you need Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Hare and Forbes Machinery House have showrooms around Australia and New Zealand that will have you browsing for hours. See the largest range of industrial and workshop DIY tools. You will be greeted by friendly, helpful staff, and you can buy from anywhere online at machineryhouse.com.au. Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Find your closest store at machineryhouse.com.au. It's always good to catch up with this bloke, racing car legend John Bowe. How are you going, Bowie?
I'm going good, Fletch. It's always good to catch up with you too. You're looking younger every time I see you.
Absolutely, mate. No such thing as getting older. This guy here gets me in the head like, Fletch, I want to be back on the show. You were on a couple of years ago, and I don't think you've never got over it.
No, I haven't. No, it was probably the biggest exposure I've ever had, especially when you asked me to take my clothes off.
This is welcome to Classic Restos, the 1am edition. Now, John, through your eyes for 2016 here at Kiwanis All Ford Day, what are your thoughts?
It's wonderful to see the people that love, whether it be Ford or some other brand. It's just the passion that car people have for their toys is just awesome. I think the range of cars. I believe there's 1,200 cars here. All sorts of obscure Fords and some, well-known ones as well, and it's just wonderful.
The way the car hobby has evolved over the years too, I think there's less of more one-eyed sort of scenarios. I mean, there's a lot of Holden guys will go to a Ford show, a lot of Ford guys will go to a Holden show. People are intermingling with a lot of shows these days, which I think is really, really healthy. I think there's a bit of emotion here as well this year. As you said, John, more and more cars, and with the way Ford is going here in Australia and how iconic the Falcon has always been to people, yeah, it's going to be sad the day it ends.
Well, I think it is very sad that the motor industry in Australia is going to no longer be a manufacturer, but, Ford will still be here, Holden will still be here, they'll still be selling plenty of products. I think, unfortunately, Australia priced itself out of the labour market, so it's easier and much more cost-effective to build cars elsewhere, but, there'll be some of these Falcons one day will be worth a lot of money because there's some pretty rare things here. And I think people are always love a Falcon.
Yeah. John, great catching up with you, mate. It's always
too, mate.
it's always a pleasure to get this guy on Classic
Look,
Restos.
it would be. It would be. Yeah, I'm sure.
You're confident about that? You know what? There's nothing quite like a tug on the heartstrings when we knock on the door of emotions. We have Anita here with a glorious XB GS Sedan. How are you, Anita?
Good, thanks, Fletch. How are you?
Good, thank you. Now, tell us the story about this car.
Well, my dad originally bought it from Ford factory in 1974, and it was running for 27 years and had vinyl roof and everything, but it started to rust out, so I restored it for him, and from the bottom up, and there you have it. Beautiful. But when he bought the car, he actually wanted a GT coupe, and Mum said no, kids won't fit in the back, so we got this one.
So who owns the car now?
I own it, but originally it was my dad's.
Hey, how cool is that? How sweet is that? For your father to have a car and then all these years down the track, you acquire it. I think that's fantastic.
It's great.
It's a stunning car. I mean, the XB Falcon was a very, very stylish car. The Coke bottle styling, we've got the 302 Cleveland up front, the 15-inch globe wheels, so iconic with a Falcon, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. It's original colour too.
What is the colour?
Sandstone beige.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Is it a special car to you?
It is, because I grew up in it. All the way from then till now, and it stays under its little blanket in my garage until the car shows come out. So,
how did you feel when you were a little kid and you used to ride around? Did it register much with you back in those times?
No, it's fun because it's a bench. It used to be a bench seat, and we were all packed in it and went on picnics and all that. So it was great.
See, it's wonderful. Who would have thought all these years down the track, the biggest Ford show in Australia here in Geelong, and you turn up in the car that you used to ride around in when you were little, and it's your father's car.
Yeah, that's right. It's fantastic.
Okay, what was the build time? How long did the restoration take, Anita?
It took a while, but it ended up coming ground up, so it took a while. Yeah. So probably, 3 years?
Frank, I just had to have you on today's show. You were the original owner of this Ford. What was it like back in the day to buy this car brand new?
Very hard for a working man.
Very expensive, right?
Yeah. It was quite a few quid.
Yeah. What's your country of origin?
Italy.
Good, hard-working Italian guy, hey?
That's right.
You guys helped build this country.
On a 60 year.
Do you remember what you paid for the car?
That's 40,300.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, $4,300 back then, eh? Yeah. Nice. And how does it make you feel today in 2016 for your daughter to be driving around in the car that you bought?
Great. Very good.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Yeah, good on you, Frank.
Thank you.
So there you go, Anita. I just had to do that. Had your old man on the show. What do you reckon?
That's great.
Would have made his afternoon.
Yeah, it did actually. Yeah. He loves it.
Anita, thank you so much for bringing the XB along here today. Glorious car. It's a beautiful way to round off this episode of Classic Restos. Thanks, Anita.
Thanks, Fletch. And the show's fantastic. Thanks for letting us on there.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
With me now we have the president of the Kiwanis Club here, Philip Knight. How are you, Phil?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, thanks, Fletch. Yourself?
Good, mate. Happy with the day, the 2016 All Ford Day here in Geelong?
Oh, it's been absolutely fantastic to see the amount of cars here and the quality of the cars. I really feel sorry for the judges because they had such a hard job.
Yeah, and the guy doing a TV show too, right?
yes. But that's your worries, not mine.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Kiwanis and members and generating people to join, how do they do that?
Yeah, look, it's very, very difficult. A lot of people think that you need to be old and semi-retired or retired. Look at me, I don't consider myself old. Okay, but we really need members. We need members to come and help us assist to run days like this. And other thing that also happens from the days like this is all the money goes back to the community. Okay, in one form or another, even to the extent that we get Lions clubs and other service clubs in here to help us run the event. Okay, but Kiwanis Geelong, we need members. Okay, and we need members rather quickly.
Well, see, there you go. Behind this almighty Ford show, we've got the hard-working people here at Kiwanis, and like Phil said, they are always looking for new members. Now, website, if people want to get in touch with you.
Okay, if you go to the All Ford Day, there's actually a link there where you go into the menu, okay, into the Kiwanis Geelong. Now, there's also a phone number to ring Graham up, or there's a website to leave your number. We plan on having a new members information evening coming up once we've compiled all the information together. Please don't be shy. We don't expect you to attend every meeting, okay, because we understand people have got work commitments, family commitments in these time restrained days, okay, but come along and do your little bit for the community and for yourself. because it's great fun, trust me.
Good on you, Phil. And the offshoot of that is that the All Ford Day, wow, numbers just growing. I mean, huge year this year.
I've never seen crowds this big before, Fletch. I've gone to quite a few of these, as you know, and this year has been awesome.
Okay, Phil, until next year, mate, well done.
Thanks very much, Fletch.
Well, there you go. That's it for this week's episode of Classic Restos. How mighty was this event? The 2016 Kiwanis All Ford Day here in Geelong, Victoria. Try and be here in 2017. In the meantime, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, until next week, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching. You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au.
Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, and Pace Farm Eggs.